Hi there, and welcome to Word Module 2. This module is about creating a research paper. You can follow along in your book in Word Module 2. It will start with a WD2 in the page number. And as we go through this chapter, we will actually be looking at tips and tricks for creating a research paper that hopefully will make it easier for you when you go to write a research paper in another class or for something else. To help you out so that you don't have to type the entire research paper in the chapter, I've gone ahead and put a start file in Canvas that you can use to start with and go from there. So let's get started. Okay, so we're starting with a start file that has text already typed for us. A couple of the directions in the chapter will be a little different because we're not going to type all this text ourselves, but for the most part it'll stay the same. So to begin with, this module is about creating a research paper. And research papers have different styles that they use depending upon what subject, what discipline they're written for. In this case, we are going to be using the MLA format. There are specific things that you have to do in your research paper for the MLA format, and one is that you have to have 12-point Times New Roman font. If you look up here, you'll see that that is not what this font is. Here's the deal. We could highlight and change the font right here, but if we were to type anything else or add on to this research paper, there's a chance that we would still have to come back up here and change it back because the default right now is Calibri 11. So to change the default font to be the Times New Roman 12 point, we have to change the normal style. We're making normal new for this document. So if I right click on the normal style on the home tab, this is on the home tab in the styles area, right click on normal style and say modify, I can change what normal means in this paper. Times New Roman, 12 point, that's what I'm going to set it to. And this is only going to occur in this document. But if I wanted to have all my documents from here on out to use a certain kind of font, I could check this box right here and that would happen. But let's just do only this document and I'll click OK. And you'll notice all the text in the document changes to be Times New Roman now because it was normal text. So anything that was normal, the normal style changes to match what we just set the normal style to be. So next up, let's look at adjusting line and paragraph spacing. So line spacing is the amount of vertical space between lines of text in a paragraph. So between this line and this line, that space is the line space. Paragraph spacing is the spacing between each paragraph. So for instance, this is a paragraph, this is a paragraph, this is a paragraph, and you notice there's a little bit more space in between each paragraph than between each line. It's important to know the difference so that you understand directions when you're working in SAM. So this is one of those things we have to do because the text has already been typed. We have to highlight the entire document so that these changes will affect everything in the document. And we want to change the line spacing. So we'll come up into the Home tab, Paragraph area. You'll see a button that says Line and Paragraph Spacing. We are going to change the line spacing to 2. And then we want to remove that extra space after each paragraph. So one way to do that is that same button, say remove space after paragraph. And now there will be a line spacing of 2 between every line, even at the end of a paragraph. So now that we've done that, maybe we want actually the normal style to have this kind of spacing. So there's another way you can change the normal style. You can create the normal style first in the paper and then come up to style up here at the top. Right click and say update normal to match selection. That will update the normal style to be wherever your cursor is. whatever kind of style is in that place. So 2 different ways to be able to change the normal style. Let's take a look at creating a header. A header goes on top of the page, and it's the same on every page. So we want to insert a header, so that will be the Insert tab. And there's a header and footer area. Let's insert a header. And if I click on it, you'll see some different built-in styles. The blank style is what I'm going to use, but I also want to show you where the Edit Header style, this is if you want to create your own style, the Edit Header option. But in this case, I want a blank header, and it will put a placeholder in there for me. Now I want to right align this placeholder. So if I come up to my Home tab, I click by the placeholder and then click the Right Align button. That will right align that holder. And then let's put the last name of the author there, Yazzie. And press the space bar. And next, we want to put page numbers in this header. Now, I can't just type a number 1 even though I'm on page 1, because if I do that, then the number 1 will be on every page in my document. I want to insert something that will change depending upon what page I'm on. So to do that, if you look up here at the top, you'll see there is a special tab for headers and footers while I'm inside my header and footer area. These extra tabs appear for lots of different things, so keep an eye on them. But here's my tab for that. And now I want to insert a page number. So over here in this header footer area, there's a page number option. And I want it to go right where my blinking cursor is. So I'm going to do the current position, and I just want it to be a plain number. So I will choose plain number. When I'm done, there's 2 ways to get out of the header. I can either double click in the paragraph itself or in the paper itself, or I can click the Close Header and Footer button. Either way, that'll take me back into my paper. Right now I only have 1 page, so you can only see page number 1. But as I get more pages in my document, you'll see the numbers will actually change with the pages. So next up, let's go ahead and enter some name and course information on this paper. So I'm entering each line, and then I'm hitting enter at the end of each line. Next, I'm going to put the title on my research paper, so I will hit the center button and then type the title. So next up, we are going to talk about indenting the first line of every paragraph in a paper. To do this, it's best if we have our ruler, if we can see our ruler. So come to the View tab and put a check beside Ruler in the Show area so the ruler shows up here at the top. Now, this is one of those things we have to do because we already have text in our paper. So we have to go ahead and highlight all of the text in our paper. Then, to create a first line indent, we drag the first line indent marker, which is the top marker at the top. You'll see there's 3 things right here, 2 triangles pointing at each other and a rectangle. They do different things. We want the one at the top. When you hover over it, it says first line indent. We'll drag that to 0.5 or ½ an inch on the ruler, and you'll see that will indent all of the paragraphs in your paper. Okay, let's talk about autocorrect. I have gone ahead and erased a little bit of this sentence, the last sentence in the first paragraph, just so I can show you what autocorrect does. So autocorrect is as you type words, if you accidentally misspell a common word, it will automatically correct it for you. For instance, the, I'm going to type the, T-E-H, and then hit my enter key. And if you'll notice, it automatically corrects the spelling and makes it correct. If I would like to add a word to autocorrect or change one of the settings, I can do that by going to the File button, and then I'm going to click the Home button right up here. This takes me into Backstage View. If I come down to where it says Options, then I can come to the proofing area. If I come up to where it says Autocorrect Options and choose that. Now, if I want to add something to this, I can type in the misspelled word here. So if I often type computer like this, I can type that in and then replace it with the right spelling of the word. Now, if I choose add, it will add that to autocorrect. So you can add words that you commonly mistype into autocorrect to help you out. Next up, the directions in the book ask you to enter all this text, but we've already done that. So now let's go through and add some citations. Ideally, you would do this as you are typing, but since our typing is already done for us, we will click and do it in the middle of the paper. So if I come up to my References tab, I can check. I want in the Citations and Bibliography area, I want that to say MLA. Remember I said that was the type of paper that, the type of documentation style we were using in this paper. So I'll go ahead and change that. So now I'm going to add my citation after first two fingers. So I'll click after the word fingers, add a space, and then one way to insert a citation is on the References tab in the Citation and Bibliography area. Click on Insert Citation and say Add New Source. This is very handy if I have the source right with me. So a source is the book, a magazine, a web page, whatever place, whatever thing I'm getting my information from. My type of source is going to be an article in a periodical, and you can see it's going to change the fields so that I have appropriate fields for the information that I need to type in for an article in a periodical. So I'll go through and finish this, type this in. I will say, as you type this, please be careful about your spelling, because if you make a spelling mistake here, it causes issues throughout your paper. It's fixable, but it's a pain. Now, I need to add more information than fields I have available. So if I come down here into this area where it says Show All Bibliography Fields, I can click that button and get a list of a lot more fields. Because since I access this on a web page, I need to fill in the year accessed as well as the year that it was written. Once I've filled out all my bibliography fields, I can click OK. It will close that dialog box and create a source in my paper. Okay, let's talk about inserting a footnote. I'm going to insert a footnote right after repetitive strain injuries. So when we do a citation, we do it before the period. When we do a footnote, we do it after a period. And it will say that in the direction, you just have to read carefully. So on the References tab, in the footnote area, there's an option to insert a footnote. That will open up a space down at the bottom, and I can type my footnote. When I get to the end of my footnote, now I am going to insert a citation here. I'm going to do it a little bit of a different way. The first time we did it as if you had the book sitting or the article sitting right in front of you. This time, we are going to do it with something called a placeholder, which allows you to hold your place in your paper and remind yourself that you need to put a citation in, but you don't have to stop and do it right then and there. So if I come up to where it says Insert Citation, I can choose that and choose Add New Placeholder. Then I need to name this something so I know to come back to it. So I put that as the placeholder name, and I click OK, and then I need a period at the end of my footnote. Now, if you notice, our footnote looks a little different than the rest of our paper. Um, the font is right, but the size of the font is wrong, and it's not double spaced. And this is because this style in this area is considered footnote style, and it's not a common style listed in our main style area. So let's look at a different way to change a style. So first of all, we want to make sure our blinking cursor is in the area that has the style. And then if we right click, we can choose style. And you'll notice now footnote text is highlighted because this is the kind of style we're in. And it's new Times New Roman 10 points. So we'll click modify to change it. This is where we will come up and change it to 12 points. And we'll also go ahead and change it and make it double spaced. There is a format button down here at the bottom that I can click and format the paragraph for this style too as well. In this case, I do want a first line indent. And then I will click OK and OK and apply. And it will change my style of footnotes to look like the rest of the document. Now, just a minute ago, we added a placeholder for a source in our footnote. Now we want to go back and add information for that. So quickly, let me just clarify that a source is the actual thing where you got the information. So the book or the periodical or the web page, the original source is where you got the information. And the citation is what you use in your paper to indicate which source you used. So this is a citation. It is just a placeholder for our citation because we haven't entered in all the information about this particular source. So to do that, if I click in the citation, I get a drop-down box for it, and I can come up here and say Edit Source. Then I can change this information to match wherever or whatever this source was. So it was a book, so let me change that. And then I do want to put in some specific names, and I want it to format it for me. So if I come over to the Edit button, it gives me boxes. I can go ahead and fill in the box, and then it'll let me know how to format the name. Click Add. So there's two authors in this case. So by doing it this way, it will automatically tell me how to format the names in the author area. It's very handy. And then let me go ahead and fill in the rest of the information. Once I've done that, I will click the OK button, and it will change my citation to say Clark and Nadir. Since there are two authors, it'll change the placeholder name to be the actual real citation. Now, we talked about editing a source. Let's look at editing this citation. So if we want a page number to appear, we have to edit the citation. So I click on the drop-down box and choose Edit Citation. And then I can put some page numbers in here. And I can decide, do I want to suppress or hide parts of this? I do want to hide the author and the title, because if you look in our footnote, we mention, according to Clark and Nadir, and in MLA style, if you mention the author's name, you don't have to include that in your citation. So I'll click OK, and it'll reformat that citation to just be the page number. Okay, so next let's take a look at counting the number of words in a paper. So as you are typing, there will be an indicator down in the bottom left corner that tells you how many words are in your paper. If you click on it, you can see a breakdown of exactly how many characters, how many paragraphs, how many lines, and you can decide whether or not to include text boxes, footnotes, and endnotes or not. You can uncheck that box. You can find the same button on the Review tab in the proofing area under word count. So 2 ways to do that. So let's take a look at inserting another citation placeholder. So this time, this is going to come after the word lost. So I'll put the cursor before the period and put a space. And then I'm going to go to my References tab and insert a citation. And this time, I will add a placeholder, and this will be called Sanchez. Now, let's go back and see if we can add some information about this source. So this is a citation. We're going to click in there and edit the source because it was just a placeholder. And we're going to go ahead and put in information about what this is. So it's a website, and then I'm going to go ahead and fill it in. Okay, so there we go. Now we're going to pretend we've typed the rest of our paper. So we are at the end of the paper, and now we are going to create a works cited page. So first, before we do that, we want this works cited page to be on its own page. And normally, Word will automatically break pages wherever they land automatically for you. But in this case, we want to force a page break. So to do that, we will go to the Insert tab, Insert, Page Break, which is over here under the Pages icon. That will automatically put me on the 3rd page of the document. Okay, so now we need to center the works cited page title. But currently, we have a first line indent going on in this paragraph. So to fix that, if I apply the normal style, which I set up at the very beginning of my paper, it will automatically left align that cursor. So now, when I center the cursor, so Home tab, Paragraph area, the center button, it will center correctly. I'm going to put the words works cited here, and then hit my Enter key, and then align left. Now, go back to my References tab. It's time to insert my bibliography. So if I come to this area right here, Citations and Bibliography, I can click on Bibliography. And I do not want any of these styles. There's some styles already set up for you on how your bibliography will look. I don't want it to match those styles. I want it to match my normal style. So I'll say Insert Bibliography, and it will automatically put all of the sources in order that I inserted throughout my paper. This makes it very easy to do your works cited page.